Dave Ward and Friends is proud to be supported by Sonic Automotive. My family has driven a Sonic Automotive car for 12 years, and I know they're the best in the business. Whether it's purchasing a new or pre-owned car or servicing your current vehicle, let Sonic Automotive be your trusted car guides. Start looking for your new car at soniccars.com. Well, Houston, we've been through a lot together. We started in radio 60 years ago. It was such a great gig, my father cautioned me against going into this thing called television, but we did it, and we had a pretty good run. We even went from black and white to color TV, then to high definition. I keep hearing about streaming and digital, and, well, it's a chance to reconnect with my friends and viewers and share stories from our times together throughout these last 6 decades. What do you say, Houston? Let's do this. Hello friends, I'm Dave Ward, and thank you for joining me again on Dave Ward and Friends. This is a series of casual conversations with friends and people I met in my 60 years of broadcasting and radio and television here in Houston. And I am so glad and so proud to have with me today KiTiRiK, Bunny Orsak, who now lives in New Mexico and was on Channel 13 for years in a black cat outfit with children. It was a great show. Bunny, thank you so much for coming on here. You're in New Mexico now.
Right.
But your career start was at KTRK TV in Houston, right?
It's when the station went on the air in 1954. Yes. And I went on the air that night. But I didn't have the show.
Yeah. What were you doing back then in those early days?
I was having a baby.
Well, you didn't have it there at the station, I presume.
No. Well, actually, the station manager at the time, John Hill, had seen me auditioning for Romper Room. And they were looking for a teacher type. I was 21 years old. And didn't have enough sense to be afraid, so I went into the studio, and when he saw me, he thought that I would be able to do station breaks, and he had a costume in mind. So I went back and interviewed with Mr. Walbridge, which we both know and have loved for years. No longer with us, but anyway, they described the cat suit. My mother made the head, and we got this KiTiRiK leotard, shows, and she made the head. So they put me in upstairs, and they put me on like a desk. They set the camera, and they said, look at that clock, talk until you get it such and time. Then they ran the cartoons. Then I started getting mail from children, and they thought, well, instead of station breaks only, I would be introducing cartoons. And then we started having a live audience, et cetera, et cetera. A clown, puppets, grew and grew.
Yes, it did. There were, how did they get the name KiTiRiK?
We had a contest. The station had lots and lots of entries, all kinds of different names for the black cat. But this woman, who was an artist, sent in artwork, and she put KTRK with an I in between each letter, and that, KiTiRiK, and that way we could promote the station and me every time we used the name.
Yeah.
So she won a color TV, and at that time they were just coming out. And that was a big deal.
It really was. Well, Channel 13 always played on the premise that it was the unlucky channel because of the 13, but they made it the lucky channel primarily, and you were responsible for a lot of that with the KiTiRiK's Carousel show. How long were you on the air?
16 years.
Yeah, my goodness.
More than 9 lives for that cat.
Do you still have any of the old outfits that you wore?
No, this black sweater is as close to a leotard as I have. No, I don't. Actually, it's a long story about the way my cat hat got stolen. You remember Ben Perlman?
Oh, yes.
The production.
Yes.
Of course, he worked with 13 also. And we had some kind of, and you were there, some kind of celebration at his production company about We Are the World, and we had people from Channel 11 and 2. I was already off the air, but they asked me if I'd put on the cat suit and be there. And I dressed in a dressing room, and I left when I had finished the show. I put on my street clothes and left my cat suitcase in the dressing room. And when I didn't look at it when I left, I just took it home. And of course, I wasn't putting on the cat suit every day now, so. But when someone else asked me if they could see it, I didn't have the cat hat. Someone had taken it from that dressing room. So at that time, my mom had passed away, and I didn't have another one made because I wasn't going to, wear it. Yeah. But yeah, I was on there 5 days a week, live.
I know.
4 to 5, and then on weekends, I would make personal appearances a lot of times, like hospitals, shopping centers, openings of every kind of description. So that was my life for 16 years.
I've got to tell you the truth here. When I came to work there at Channel 13 in the mid-'60s, every now and then, you remember Kitty Bora,
of course,
who was there. You two would put on your bathing suits and go out there and lie by the swimming pool in the sun, and that just shut down production there at the TV station because all us guys would be walking out picking some excuse just to walk down the hallway and look out at the swimming pool with our 2 beautiful ladies out there getting a sunbath.
Well, I had the best tan in Texas.
Oh, me.
But it was nice that we had the swimming pool, at the station. Everybody enjoyed that.
Yes, that's true. As a matter of fact, I think they put more space into the swimming pool and the area surrounding that swimming pool than they did in the newsroom when I first went to work there.
Probably so.
Well, when I first went to work there were only 7 of us in the news department. 7 males, 7 white males.
Yes.
And just the way it was at the time. If I had been African American or Hispanic or female of any kind, they wouldn't have even let me in the back door. That's just the way it was in the news department business then. But you were on the air in the afternoons. Do you remember some of the morning shows like Cadet Don?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We had 3 different Cadet Dons over the years.
Yes.
But the one that is most remembered and loved was Al Eisenman. And he played Cadet Don for a long time. He had a puppet also.
He had a puppet on his show?
Yes. Seymour, the puppet.
Seymour.
But I had 3 puppets.
Oh, my goodness. Well, where are you now?
Well, I'm sitting in my kitchen, actually, kitchen dining area in Ruidoso. Now, Ruidoso is in the mountains, and it is beautiful. So everybody ought to come see it. But then I have a house in Las Cruces, which is in the desert. So when it snows and gets icy in Ruidoso, we go to Las Cruces. And in the summer, when it's so hot in Cruces, we come to the mountains.
There you go.
So really have the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Do you ever visit Houston anymore?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Are you a Houston native? Were you born here in Houston?
No, I was born in Louisiana, South Louisiana, and went to I actually went to college in South Louisiana at LSU, but went to well, my dad was with Gulf Oil, so we traveled, you know, and I got to Houston when I was a senior in high school, and my high school years at Lamar High School in Houston.
At Sonic Automotive, we went from happy guests to happy owners. I felt right at home during the whole process. If my home only had a bigger garage for all those cars. Sonic Automotive has 13 stores in the Houston area, providing you 10 vehicle brands for new sales and services. Visit soniccars.com to find your new car. Dave Ward and Friends is proud to be supported by Sonic Automotive. Let Sonic Automotive be your trusted car guys. Visit soniccars.com to find the location near you.
And how did you get the job at Channel 13? Like when it first went on the air?
Yeah, well, I mean, they hired me. Yeah, they hired me and went on the air like in November of '54.
Wow.
And that's when, you know, they had me dressed up like the cat and started doing those station breaks.
I see. Wow.
But it was live, and it was the only time that we actually taped was when I'd go on location, which I don't think you and I have ever talked about this, but the station sent me to California one year to interview the new shows on ABC that were coming on in the fall. And that was fun. I got to meet, you know, a lot of people in California. And Don Reed, Ray Milan, all these. See, the younger people don't even know who I'm talking about. But anyway, after that, another year, the station sent me to New York to film at Freedom Land, which is Six Flags over Texas on steroids. It was a huge park, you know. So anyway, we did. I brought that back to Houston, at New York park. And then another time, which is the most important thing, I think, one of the most important I did was a documentary in Washington, D.C. We taped all the Lincoln Memorial, you know, Washington Monument, so forth and so on. And so I had that to bring back and show the kids, which I thought was important because a lot of them would never be able to go to Washington, D.C. And they needed to know about that. I have no idea where that tape is. I don't know what happened to it, but I was very proud of it.
Yeah. Well, there are so many tapes that I did. You know, I was there 50 years, and I don't have any of them, or maybe one or two, and that's about it. I remember in a previous interview a couple of years ago, I asked you about some of the children who came on KiTiRiK's carousel and some of the unusual things that they said. Tell us about that.
Well, one, little girl on the carousel, on her birthday, I asked them what they wanted to be when they grew up, what they liked to eat, those kind of questions, because they were ready for those. Most of them, what you like to eat, they'd say sketty. But this little girl was trying to tell me she wanted to be a cowgirl when she grew up. And she said she wanted to be a call girl. Well, I had to think fast, and I said, oh, you want to be a telephone operator? You know, out of the mouths of babes. You never knew what they were going to say because we were live.
That's true. Yep. All your KiTiRiK's carousel shows were done live, were they not?
Yes. Except when I'd go out like to the zoo and places like that, we'd tape. But 5 days a week, we were live.
Yeah. Well, my wife Laura told me to tell you that since you don't have your black cat leotard suit anymore, that is a national tragedy because you are the like a Hollywood star in Houston during the 16 years that you were on the air down here. And everybody, anyone who's, you know, an adult or over 50, 60 years old today certainly remembers KiTiRiK and KiTiRiK's Carousel. And I'll never forget it.
I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
People still ask me for my picture. I can't believe they think I still look like that.
There's this movie, I don't know much about it. Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey are in it, and I think it's coming out in the spring. The producer of that movie, it's about some kid who grew up in Houston back during the early days of the space program, and they wanted some clips from the KiTiRiK show. Did they get it, or do you know?
I don't know. I really don't. The producer talked to my son in Austin, and she wanted to talk to me, but she never did call, so I didn't know if they got the clips or not.
Well,
but he had asked for me specifically, so I really, I was flattered.
Yeah, right. Matthew McConaughey is from Texas. Renee Zellweger grew up out here in Katy, if I remember right. So when that film comes out, I'm going to go see it, and I hope you're in it.
Oh, well, I hope so. I'll go see it just to see everybody else. And I was at the station, of course, when you went on the air, and I really want you to know how much our friendship has meant.
Oh, bless your heart.
Everybody in Houston ought to read your book. I loved it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you know, I spelled out in my book how I started each newscast by saying, "Good evening, friends." You remember where that came from, how that happened? I can tell you right quick. Ron Stone, who was on first Channel 11 and then on Channel 2, he started his newscast with "Howdy Neighbors." And I thought in my mind, Ron Stone was the best television news anchor ever in this city, male or female. And he, with his down-home "Howdy Neighbors," I thought, what can I do that would be similar? And I thought, well, neighbors, friends, friends and neighbors. So I just came on with "Good evening, friends. I'm Dave Ward." And that kind of became my trademark. Ron Stone passed away several years ago, brain cancer, and I hated that, and I still to this day count him as one of my dearest friends. We served on the Houston Oilers radio crew together for, oh my goodness, about 8 years. Never missed an Oiler game, home or away. And Bud Adams wasn't cheap. He paid me $15 a game. I kept a set of stats for Ron Franklin and Ron Stone. And
I have a picture of you and me, Ron Stone and Ron Franklin.
Wow.
We were planning a fundraiser. And we were meeting wherever we were, and I have that picture.
Wow.
Somewhere. See, I keep those pictures in a plastic box. I have Chronicle news clips forever, and pictures of people that came, like Ed Sullivan, Gary Cooper, and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
So I have those, but like I said, I still have one of you and Ron and Ron.
I'll be darned. That's fantastic. Last year I was having lunch at La Grilla, and this waiter came up to us, and he remembered KiTiRiK and had some the KiTiRiK fish special.
Well, it's really gratifying for those to remember.
Well, everybody in Houston remembers KiTiRiK. And Bunny, I can't tell you how much I really appreciate you doing this with me for my podcast. I don't even know when it's going to air. I'll have no idea, but I'll let you know.
Okay, that would be fine. Tell Laura thank you for her help.
I'll do that.
And your crew.
Absolutely. Yep, they're good. Well, Bunny, thank you again, dear.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Bye now.
Bye-bye. And thank you for joining us on Dave Ward and Friends.
Buckle your seatbelts, friends. You won't believe the VIP perks that Sonic Automotive is offering you. $500 cash toward a new vehicle, $250 cash toward a pre-owned vehicle, 25% off any repair or service, and more. Thank you, Sonic Automotive, for being the official sponsor of the Dave Ward and Friends podcast. To see the VIP perks they're offering my friends, visit soniccars.com.